Good morning. Hope you're well. Jaden. Jasmine, did you see your essay? Jasmine.
No, I'm gonna go look at it. Yeah.
Okay, take a look at it. Good morning.
The one about the mariposas? That one?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I just looked at it. Yeah. Thank you.
Do you understand the corrections?
Yeah.
Okay. If you need more help, just let me know, okay?
Okay.
Good on this one. Santiago, can you change your name, please? It's good. You can do them. You can do jumping jacks by the door because that doesn't disturb people right here. Yes, you can. You can do it by the door because it's sturdier right there. It won't bounce as much. Nice. Honey, you can do it right there because it's got more sturdiness. And I'll explain to the people downstairs, okay? Just do it. Okay. Looks, I don't know what's wrong with Kristen. Looks like most of us are here. Good morning. I'm glad you're here. Welcome back for Tuesday. Let's get started. We're going to go to our slides, and we have one video that we're going to watch. No, actually it's two videos. And then we're going to talk about how to create that plan. And I actually put it on a different format for you so that way it's easier to manipulate. Okay, so creating the plan for our essay, for our expository writing. So let's use that. Yes, fix what I told you to fix, okay? Your information was good, but you just need to add more to it. The quotes and things directly from the text to support what you said, okay?
Miss Huff,
Yes.
Christian said that he's still in the waiting room.
Yeah, I clicked join and it looks like it's just stuck there.
Oh,
So
okay.
he needs to go all the way out and try to come back in again because it's stuck. I don't know why. It says joining, but he's not joining. Can you let him know?
Yeah, I'll tell him.
Okay, thank you. All right, let me share my screen before we start. Until we get to the Google Classroom activities, all of your screens need to be on. I should not see cute little kitties. I need to see your faces or your ceiling, but your screens all need to be on, okay? That's part of the program. All right, here we go. First video, please write the title. You should have paper and pencil. Remember that I do take parts of these videos and put them into your quizzes. So you need to take notes. Title of today's quiz, title of today's first video is Building a Solid Sentence. All right, here we go.
We're gonna have a quiz today?
No, for in the future.
Oh,
You need to be taking notes. That's why I'm giving you this so that you have it for later. Okay? All right.
Hi there. Today we're going to talk about how to build a solid thesis sentence. Lots of things go into an effective thesis statement, and this tutorial will help you learn a little bit more about how to look at your topic as more than just a simple subject. Sometimes students simply turn the question they've been given into a statement, but as you can see from our box full of tools, there's much more to it than that. And if you don't craft a solid thesis sentence, your whole paper could go up in smoke. It might help you to think of your thesis as a sort of treasure map. You'll give us a start by staking your claim, and then briefly map out the depth of the rest of your response. Consider how the thesis sentence works and where it belongs. Most often, the thesis comes at or near the end of the introductory paragraph. This is the most effective position because it allows you to flow right into the body of your essay with a clear purpose. Your thesis should also stake a claim about the topic, something that might be up for debate or an original take on the topic. If your thesis is something everyone agrees upon already or knows already, your essay won't be very interesting or very insightful. Your thesis should give your readers a sense of direction by mapping out the important ideas you plan to explore. And a solid thesis sentence should interpret the subject and offer a deep exploration of the question rather than just restate a definition of the subject.
All right, so these are important notes because it helps you to build that thesis statement. Oops. It helps you to build that thesis statement so that not only do you know what's going to happen in your story, your essay, but your reader knows what's going to happen. So please write these down. These are components that you need to have when you are building that thesis statement. Who was talking to Christian in the waiting room?
I think it's Sylvia.
Sylvia, can you let him know that it still says joining and it's not letting him in? I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I'll tell him. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so usually the thesis statement comes at the end of the introductory paragraph. Most of the time you're going to see it as the last sentence in that paragraph. And when you get to, as you're reading through the introduction, you get to that last sentence and it's gonna tell you A is gonna happen, B is gonna happen, C is going to happen in this essay. So you need to make sure that it's a clear and concise sentence to guide your readers through that essay. You also want to stake a specific claim that others might dispute. Maybe somebody will argue with you saying that your claim A is not what they think it should be. That's okay. If your thesis statement has a topic in it that people want to argue with you about, you just need to know your material. You need to know your facts. You need to know your quotes. You need to know what is going to be argued. The thesis statement maps out your paper. It tells the reader what to expect later in those body paragraphs. It interprets the subject. So if you're talking about the chupacabras, then it's going to give an idea to the reader of what it is you plan on discussing about that chupacabra. It offers a deep exploration of the question. So you'll see that you need to create a question in order to create your thesis statement. Okay, maybe that's him again. Okay. That is really weird. I don't know why it's not letting him in. Hmm. Sylvia, it's still not letting him in. It says joining, but he's not being able to join. So can you tell him that this is videotaped and it's going to be on the agenda site for all the 8th graders?
Okay, I'll tell him.
Okay, it's recorded, so he'll be able to see what we did.
Okay.
Okay, and I'll try to find out what's wrong with his attachment or link. I appreciate your help. That's really weird. All right, so you've got this. Let's keep going.
Question rather than just restate a definition of the subject. So let's see how it works. We'll start with a simple example. It asks you to compare and contrast two items. In this case, we'll look at two breeds of dog. It's always most effective to find two things that have some really stark contrast, and you can't get more different than a Chihuahua and a Great Dane. Whenever I give a compare and contrast essay to my students, there's always at least one student who goes for the simplest and least effective thesis like this. Chihuahuas and Great Danes are very different, but also similar. That sentence doesn't really tell us a whole lot, does it? We don't know how they're different or how they're similar. We have no sense of direction. So I think we can do a little bit better. Let's try that again. This student has decided to look for the difference in size. So he gives us a thesis sentence like this. Both Chihuahuas and Great Danes are dogs, but the Chihuahua is small and the Great Dane is big. Well, my first reaction to that is, so what? That's just a fact, and it doesn't offer any insight or even any sense of direction for the rest of the paper. It's just a fact and no more than that. You have to go a lot further than that. So consider each breed by itself first. Have you ever wondered why a Chihuahua is so small and a Great Dane is so large? To build a strong thesis sentence, you have to dig deeper and you have to ask questions. For example, what does size have to do with anything? There might be something important about it, but what is it? You might consider what purpose each breed may have served in past society. It could be important that a Great Dane was used for hunting bears and deer. And it might be important that we don't know a whole lot about the historical position of Chihuahuas, other than rumors that they were raised to be eaten. You might consider how each breed has become part of popular culture today. We see Great Danes in books and movies and cartoons like Scooby-Doo, Marmaduke, or even Batman comics. Yes, Ace the Bat Hound is a Great Dane. There are stereotypes attached to some breeds as well. Chihuahuas are often presented as Hispanic like Gidget, the dog in the Taco Bell commercials, or even as an accessory like Paris Hilton's dog, Tinkerbell, who acts more like a purse than a pet. Consider how this popularity might influence how society views and accepts these dogs. If a breed is in a popular book or movie, he might become more popular as a pet as well. This seems like a lot to consider, but it's how you get to know what really matters as you think about your topic. So let's try it again. Chihuahuas and Great Danes have different personalities, appear in movies, and now get adopted more. Well, okay, this approach is common among writers who are still a little unsure about how to write an essay. Notice that this example looks a lot like a catalog or an outline of your main points. If there's no real substance or flow to it, you can get even more specific than this and make it flow more naturally. So let's try one more. Despite their vast difference in appearance and character, both the Chihuahua and the Great Dane have found a significant place in American popular culture, which could eventually have a profound effect on the survival of each breed. Okay, you might notice that this is a pretty long sentence. Your thesis doesn't always have to be long to be effective, but really think about the depth of what you want to say. This thesis suggests more than just a short answer on a test or homework assignment. It definitely gives us a sense that this is a meatier essay. So let's take a closer look at it. What does this thesis statement really tell us about the paper we are about to read? Well, the first part of this sentence tells us that you're going to describe the basic appearance and character of each breed. You might have already mentioned some of this as part of your introduction, but you might give us a little bit more in the body of your essay as well. This part of the sentence suggests that you're going to describe how each breed has influenced or become part of American popular culture. And this part of the sentence tells us you will describe how their popularity or place in American culture could affect the future of each breed. So this thesis sentence says quite a lot, but it doesn't sound like an outline like the last one did. But here's a caution. Just because we've pulled 3 general ideas of discussion here, it doesn't mean that they constitute the 3 body paragraphs of the typical 5-paragraph essay you learned to write in junior or senior high school. Getting away from that 5-paragraph aspect. Each of these points could require multiple paragraphs to adequately develop them.
Okay, what she's saying is now we no longer do just simple 5-paragraph essays. And paragraph essays, know how I tell you to use at least 8 sentences, your detail, your explanation, your topic sentence, add a question and a quote. Those are typical for a paragraph, but your paragraph can be a short paragraph and it can also be a long paragraph. But the important thing about each of those paragraphs, you might have 3 paragraphs for one topic, one of those, but you need to be able to have a lot of good information about those topics in order to break them down into specific, smaller paragraphs. So the first one, you might have 1 paragraph. The second one, you might have 3 paragraphs because you're talking about all the different kinds of breeds or how they are different as breeds. The last one, you might have 4 small paragraphs that would equal a big paragraph. So it's important to know that we no longer write just 5-paragraph essays anymore. It all depends on the topic that you are writing. Okay? One more time, all cameras need to stay on unless we are in Google Classroom or some application that turns your camera off. So this is an important example of the paragraph structure, even for a thesis statement. Any questions about this one? All right, moving on.
And that's really what you want in your thesis statement, something that gives us a much deeper sense of the topic that you're going to address. Now, there are a few things your thesis sentence definitely does not need. Don't use the words I think or in my opinion in your thesis statement. In fact, you should avoid them in your essay altogether unless you need to distinguish your opinion from that of a person you just quoted.
So don't use I
This paper
or
will
I
show
think,
that.
if
You
you can
also
help
don't need
it.
to announce what your paper will do in this way. Your thesis is staking a claim all on its own, so it should be obvious what your paper is going to do. And don't presume to know what everyone knows. If everyone knows it, then there's really no point for you to write about it. These sorts of statements will just sound clunky, and they're unnecessary.
Another couple of things that you want to avoid when you are writing your essay, your thesis statement, your essay, anything. Don't say I, and as much as you possibly can. Do not say I. Do not say you. Do not say this paragraph. Do not say this essay. Those are all do not do terms in an essay. Why? Because your essay should speak for itself. Instead of using those kind of words, you want to use transition words. Therefore, finally, because. Use transition words. Don't say in this paragraph, I'm going to say blah, blah, blah. Your essay needs to say it on its own. Okay? So those are just things that you do not do in these essays. Unless it's all about you, which some narrative essays are, but most of the time, do not use I. And do not say this paragraph is about. Those are big no-nos. All right?
So what does your thesis need? Well, it definitely needs a clear sense of scope, direction, and purpose.
Please write this down.
We need to know how deep you plan to go, where you're going to take us, and in a sense, why that is important. And if you're writing about literature, be sure that you include the author's name in the title of the publication that you're talking about. All of this is part of the map that you're laying out for your readers.
Oops, sorry. Hang on. This you should recognize as part of your citations, okay? Especially when you quote something, you want to tell who the author is or what the article title is that you're getting that quote from. If you just quote something and you don't add something that says John Bayer said, whatever is quoted, then you are basically taking that information, and that's called plagiarism. And we want to avoid plagiarism.
Question.
Okay.
You said if we quoted from an article or a story, but like, what if we quoted from like someone famous? Do we put their name?
Yes, absolutely. Because if they're the ones saying it and it's been published somewhere, and you don't say John Doe said this, but it's been published somewhere, then you're plagiarizing him, and someone can pull that up and say you plagiarized this, and you could get in trouble. So you always have to, if somebody has been quoted as saying something, you want to recognize them as the one who said it. Okay? That was a very good question. All right, ready?
All of this is part of the map that you're laying out for your readers. Now let's take a quick look at what makes a solid thesis statement and what makes.
Okay, so on your notes, just do a little T chart, strong versus weak. It just needs a little short T chart, strong versus weak.
a weak one. A solid thesis statement makes a substantive claim. A weak one makes no claim at all. A strong thesis gives us a sense of direction, whereas a weak one will just present an outline. A strong thesis statement explores something new. A weak one relies on a cliche or maybe a simple, well-known piece of information. A strong thesis statement digs deeper than the surface elements of the topic, whereas a weak one offers only a simple fact or an obvious statement. And definitely the strong thesis is going to answer the question that's been asked. A weak one may not address it at all.
Okay, hang on. There we go. All right, these are important points to note. As you are creating your thesis statement, you want to create a question about your essay that you're going to answer in your thesis statement, okay? So we're talking about myths and legends and how they affect culture and traditions. You create a question based on what we are researching. And that question is going to help you build your thesis statement just for that one piece that goes at the end of your introduction, okay? You want to answer that question. What is it that I want my readers to know and how am I going to get there? What question do I need to guide them? That is building a solid statement in the thesis at the bottom of your introduction that's going to be a roadmap for your readers. Are there any questions about that one? Strong is what you want to have. Weak is what you don't want to have.
A
Okay.
weak one may not address it at all. One way to judge whether your thesis is strong enough is to ask yourself a few questions, like this one: have I overgeneralized? And one way you can tell that is if you're using words like everyone, always, never, nobody. Those are such broad, general statements, so you want to avoid those kinds of words. Is it specific enough? Or maybe it's too broad or too narrow. Put it to the test. Ask another question. Can I ask too many big questions? If you read that thesis statement and your head immediately jumps to a bunch of broad questions, then maybe it's not specific enough. But on the other hand, does my statement leave room enough to address the elements of my claim in more detail? If it doesn't, you might have gone too narrow and stated more of a fact than giving us a good idea of what you plan to talk about. You might also ask if your logic is sound. Sometimes people write cause and effect or compare and contrast essays, and they're basing it on something that doesn't really make sense. You might also ask if you've used words like good, bad, great, those kinds of evaluative terms. These especially are weak ones, bad and good, and great often gets misused. Great actually means deep or big. It doesn't mean really awesome. We say it in conversation, but in writing, really use it the way it's meant to be used. So when you come to write your thesis sentence, just remember that it's really something like a treasure map. You're giving your readers a map to where your essay plans to go and the goal at the end of it. I hope that's been helpful. If you need any more help,
Okay. So that is building a solid thesis statement. And it really does matter how you put that last sentence in your introduction together. So this next video, it will show you the process so that way you can see exactly how you create your question and how you line it up. I will stop this so that you can write down the information to help you build those thesis statements that's going into your essay, okay? Okay, this one's called Writing a Thesis Statement. It's the title of video 2, video number 2. Writing a thesis statement. Okay, step 1. Now, when you're writing this, you have the title, but please go down the line, each line, so that way it's in sequential order. It'll help you that way when you're reading it down and putting your thesis statement together. So the next line is step 1. Below step 1, now you're going to be creating a question about your topic. So again, if you're writing about that chupacabra, what do you want to know about the chupacabra? Ask a question. Okay, this is an example of the question. What is your topic? Write that part down. And now our topic is Superman. Okay? Okay, write that under Superman. Write this below, form a question. Why is Superman so cool? We're just going through the basic steps of creating that thesis statement. Here's step 2. Now you're going to be finding reasons for why Superman is so cool. So you should have already read your articles. You should have gathered some data, got some information. Now, what are those main reasons that you want in your thesis statement? Okay, what are some of the reasons that Superman is cool? Write this down. If you notice, Why is Superman so cool is part of our question here. Oops. Okay, we got that? Okay. Typically, in a thesis statement, you have at least 3 reasons. You create your question, you reword your question, and you come up with 3 reasons for your topic. This is typical, but again, things tend to change sometimes. So be flexible. Maybe you only have 2 reasons, but it's always more than 1. All right? Okay, reason number 1. So just put 1, Superman can fly. Reason number 2, he saves people from danger. Oops, I always do that. Superman is really strong. It's supposed to be strong. Superman is really strong. That's reason number 3. Now, the next step is putting all this together. How do you put it together? You're not going to have your question on your paper, but you're going to use that question that you put down to help build that thesis statement. Okay, so that's why he's Superman. Step 3 is putting it all together. So step 3 is putting it all together. Now you're combining. So under putting it all together, just say combine step 1 and 2. Just combine step 1 and 2. So here's the question that you have. Okay. Why is Superman so cool? You take part of the question and you make it part of your answer. And add that transition word, whatever it is, because also in the event of whatever your transition word, your conjunction is, you're going to add it in your sentence. question as a statement, conjunction, and then you add the rest of the sentence. All right, I just want to show you that question, that statement. Okay, so now you have a complete statement. It's a very simple thesis statement. We want to try to avoid simple. Like the other one said, you want to add some detail to it, some reasons why. But this is a very simple thesis statement. Superman is so cool because he is strong, helps people in danger, and he can fly. This is basically a list of things. You want to add the purpose behind this when you write your thesis statement. Okay? Does that make sense? All right, I'm going to show you your assignment. Yesterday in Google Classroom, I put creating a plan for myths and legends, but it doesn't work very well. I really don't like Google Documents because I can't use the tools. So I created a Google slide for you, and this is what it looks like. So you can look at the slide, and it actually allows you to create. It's exactly the same as the Google Docs. So don't write on the Google Docs. Write on the slide, because on this one, you can actually create your map, thinking map, whichever one you're going to use. You can actually do it here because you have shapes that you can use. You have text boxes that you can create to put information into. You can change the color. That up here. If you do a shape, say you do this one, you can color it, make it color so that way all of your topics that are one color can relate to each other. But let me show you what I got. I also did an example for you. This one is a double bubble map. I still have my information up here, but then I created a double bubble. So these are the topics that I'm looking at for my myths and legends. Chupacabras for one, and this yellow side is all the things that are different from the Aztec goddess, whose information would be here. Everything in the middle are things that make them similar as myths and legends. Okay, so you have this example. Here are text boxes. As you notice, I colored all of the Chupacabra's information yellow so that way I don't get it mixed up when I start writing. So I have my shape. I'm going to put a text box in the center, and I can size it to fit the circle. Oops. And then I can type the chupacabra is a creature that only comes out at night. Okay, so now I can type in it and I can put my facts or my details or my quotes, whatever I want, inside the box. Then I'm going to do the same thing for Tonantzin, the Aztec goddess. And after I have made sure I've read my articles, I'm going to put the things that are similar between the two. This is a double bubble, and it can help set up your 3 areas of information. It even gives you more than 5 paragraphs if you want. And I will take this information and combine it to make my thesis statement. The next slide, this is the one that I like to do because tree maps are awesome. You can put your hook in there, your introduction, your 3 main ideas, and then you take those 3 main ideas and you create your thesis statement. This is the reason why I am writing this paper. Are you going to put thesis statement on your essay? No. That's just the title for your topic, for your map. It helps you to remember this is my last sentence in the introduction. So if you notice, if you can read my, let me go in. So if you notice, I have information about the goddess Tonantzin, and then I have information about the chupacabra. These are my 3 reasons. And this is the last part of it, the history of the Latin population and their culture. So I'm back to what the purpose is for me writing about these legends. All right. And then I take each of these and I'm going to put them into my body paragraphs. Okay. So my first one is about Tonantzin. My second one is about the chupacabra. And then my third one would be about the culture. Okay, why are they both important in the culture? And your conclusion, remember, you do not put new information in your conclusion. Does that make sense? This is planning it out. So this is on your Google Classroom. You can look at it as you are creating your plan. Do not use the other plan, use the one that says slides. Okay? Is that okay? Hello?
Yes.
Thank you. All right. We will keep working with theme and thesis statements. We're going to practice tomorrow on how to build those thesis statements. I'm going to give you some questions and you're going to build the thesis statements, okay? Just to give you practice on doing that. And that's all I have.
Go.
Talk to you later. Talk to you tomorrow. If not,
Bye, Miss Huff.
email me.
Adios.
Okay? Bye-bye.
Bye, Miss Huff.
Bye. See you later.
See you tomorrow.
Okay, have a good afternoon.
Miss Huff, Christian said if you marked him absent today.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Yeah, I knew he was trying to get in.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Luis, that would be fine. Okay? Oh, I can't get to it. Hang on, baby, I'm trying to. Okay, he said okay. All right, let me stop sharing this. Louise, if you want to come at the last class during interventions, that would be fine. Mario, are you there? Miguel? Santiago?
Huh?
Do you have any questions?
No.
All right, I'll see you tomorrow.